Well, I don't know about you, but here in Milwaukee, it has been raining nonstop all day. And when I say nonstop, I mean nonstop. I mean, it has not let up all day. We haven't gone for a walk with the dogs. We've barely let them outside to go to the bathroom, only one at a time. Uh, and it has just been raining ever since last night around 3 or 4 o'clock. And it got me thinking about Noah and the 40 days that it rained for him and his family as they were sitting on the ark. And it made me start to think about Noah waiting on the ark for God to stop the rain, to drain the floodwaters, to bring them back to dry land, to bring them back to normalcy. And Noah started off by building this boat that God told him to build. All of his neighbors and friends told him he was crazy. Uh, and honestly, I'm sure at some points Noah thought he was probably a little bit crazy in his mind for doing what he was doing. But he listens to what God asks him to do. And he gets on the boat and he's stuck with his kids and his wife and their wives and all these animals. He's stuck with all these animals. I mean, you can't even imagine what it'd be like to be on a floating zoo for more than one day, let alone 40 plus 150 plus 40 plus. I mean, that is a long time to be in a floating zoo. But in chapter 8 of Genesis, we hear that God remembered Noah and his family. After all that waiting, God remembered Noah and started to drain the floodwaters and bring his life back to normal. And right now, I think a lot of us find ourselves stuck in our own arcs. We're stuck at home. We're not going and doing the things that we normally do. Our life is kind of on hold for a little bit. We're waiting for the flood waters of chaos and coronavirus to go away. We're waiting for God to bring the world back to normal. You know, when Noah was on the ark, I'm sure he didn't just sit around and look out the window and go, woe is me for sitting in this ark all this time. I'm sure there were lots of discussions about why God told him to do this, what God told him, how God had worked before in his life, how God was working right now through this flood, and how they thought God would work in the future. I'm sure they didn't see the rainbow coming, but maybe they talked about what would happen afterwards. And so I hope today, right now, you, your family, your friends, whoever's around you, you're able to take a moment and pause in this flood as we're waiting for the floodwaters to abate and to go away. Take a minute and think about what God has done, how He has worked in the past, how He is working right now, and how God will continue to work once these floodwaters are brought under control. God is always working. Sometimes it just takes us a little bit more time to see it, but He is always working because He loves His people and He wants everyone to know about Him.